There is an endless war inside your mind. Now, what do I mean by this? I mean, this is the war of your thoughts, right? This is the war of the gray area within your mind. You know, many things are black and white. You know, you think they are at least, but they don't stay that way. Life is full of gray areas and choices to be made and decisions to be had. And it's not always clear on which way to go. You know, you may be at a crossroads and you see many paths before you, but you don't know where they lead. You don't know which one takes you where you want to go. You know? You don't have confirmation of which path to take, and is it worth it? Is this going to ruin my life? Is this going to put me where I want to be? Am I going to regret this? It's this pit of overthinking that we get ourselves into. And I say it's an endless war because it doesn't end. You know, it's day to day, it's constant. It's the battle with our emotional health, with our mental well-being. And when you focus on it too much, it exacerbates the problem. So then what should we do? If we think about it too much, we make the problem bigger than it is. But if we don't pay attention to it at all, then it goes undiagnosed. It goes undealt with. It delves into a bigger problem. So what are we supposed to do? How do we encounter these paths, these decisions, you know? And for many people who are in the stage of their life that I am, whether it's going into college or right after college, there's so much regret in the choices that you make. There is so much indecision that takes place. And we want answers. We want perfect answers to every decision. Did I do this right? Am I doing this right? But we never get that. You know? And why is it that the human condition suffers this? We don't always have the right answer. The black or white to the gray. But I think that's the point about life. You know, I think that's what we're supposed to deal with. And that's what makes us grow, is those gray areas. There's no friction when it's black and white. There's no stopping and thinking and meditating and changing your ways when everything's perfectly laid out before you. There's no growth. Because we understand that growth only occurs when there's friction. You know, that's why people go to the gym. That's why people have to go against their desires, whether it's to eat food or to chase pleasure. So that's what life is. That's what the meaning of life is it's a struggle. But it's a good one. It's a worthy struggle. You fight your battles that you need to. You leave the other ones to the side. And that discernment, that understanding of which battles to take only comes from experience. So you better get out in the field and start. You know, there's indecision amongst people because they're too worried about, is this the right way? Is this the wrong way? Where's this going to lead me? And they don't even take a step. You know? And that truly is the ultimate failure and disappointment for any human. It's not failing because you did something that didn't work out. It's failing to make a step. It's failing to put faith forward and go. If you don't have that struggle, that friction, there's no hope. There's no growth of character. You stay in the same spot. That's why you grow tired of where you're at. Not because the perfect decision hasn't arisen or the perfect opportunity hasn't arisen yet, but you haven't taken a step. You've stood in the same place for weeks, months, years. I mean, what are you expecting? We can look at this in nature with the changing of the seasons. Nature doesn't stay the same all times of the year. It changes. As the old saying goes, the only certain thing or thing that you can be certain of is change. Once you start to adopt this worldview, this perspective, life becomes easier to take in. It becomes easier to understand the layering within every situation, the understanding that the whole world is built upon. It's a struggle between right and wrong, but more importantly, it's the need for courage and the need to move on forward. Because our curse, our issue, is that we remain stagnant for too long. And when you're idle, when you're stagnant, you're in last place. You're in worse than last place. You're in hell. You know, there's a poem by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, and the last line in it says, "Let us then be up and doing with a heart for any fate, still achieving, still pursuing, learn to labor and learn to wait." I love this poem, and that third line, within the poem, still achieving, still pursuing, that's the crux of life. You know, that's the crux, that's the central point of our existence. To keep going. To keep moving forward. To have that spirit within us. A higher spirit than ourselves. That is not of our own willpower or making. It may get us 70% of the way there, 80%, but it doesn't complete your day. There's something more. There's something more. Something more rich. Something that is needed more. So go into the gray areas. Go into those areas of life where there's decisions that must be made, and make a decision. Where there's choices that need to be decided on, make a choice. Sit there, think about it, and make a choice. Thank you for watching.